Okay, next we're going to talk about weather, which, by the way, I really love that today was an emergency on weather. All of the money in the world means nothing if you can't keep your family warm. Harriman has been flooded a number of times in the past 3 years by a once-in-a-100-year storm. The second time they said that, I remember thinking, this is not adding up. So be prepared for the unexpected. We talked at the beginning about what if the Jordan River overflowed. I know that most of us think that that's just not going to happen. But the fact is, the Lord could do anything that he wanted to do, and it could happen. So be prepared. Something else to consider that we have learned out in Harriman is that one emergency will lead to another emergency. So when we have the fires, we now have to deal with flooding. When there are earthquakes, that can lead to fires from broken gas lines. Blizzards can lead to power outages, and on we go. So if there's one, be prepared for the next. The third thing, and I would say this could very easily keep moving up the line, is information. It is so amazing to see, no matter what the situation, there's always somebody in your face going, I need to know right now. And the fact is that there isn't always information to share. So I would promote at this time social media, because it is a fantastic tool if you have access to it to get the latest of what is going on. I know Harriman City, I know St. George, and there's a couple of other ones. The cities have caught on to this, and so they will tweet or post things on their Facebook page about everything that they know, so that you know as quick as everybody else knows. So that's a fantastic tool nowadays. Chargers, they make solar-powered chargers now that are fantastic. They have some that you can just lay whatever it is that you want charged on top of it, and the sun will warm it up and it will refuel your technology. That might be something that we need to look into. Ham radios. Here's my experience, and I tell this every time because I don't want someone to get in the situation and say, I didn't know. FRS radios are not reliable. Because of the way the frequencies are, there's going to be a lot of people working their walkie-talkies, and none of the authorities are really going to be on those channels. And the authorities actually have the right to kick you off of those channels if they need them. So I would recommend a ham radio because it is a different animal. It's like comparing lions and tigers. They're different. There are ham radio classes that you can take. The church is beefing up their ham radio department, so they are always looking for more people to become ham radio operators. And when there is an emergency, for instance, Haiti, when there was the big earthquake in Haiti, the church was able to send ham radio operators over there when there was no other form of communication. And they were able to be the lifeline to let the church know what was needed over there. Let's talk about landlines versus cell phones. I'm going to give you the pros and the cons. Landlines work when cell phones don't. We have figured this out in all of our fires because everyone has to tell everyone that there's a fire, and then everyone has to tell them back what's happening. So our cell phones go down, so the landlines will still work. So there's your pro and your con. If you have a landline, they can do reverse 911, and you can receive those messages. Okay, now on to cell phones. Cell phones, when your actual calling goes down, you can often text. So that may be a quick solution. If you're on top of it at the beginning of an emergency, you can send on a quick text and it will probably work just because it's such a quicker message than someone just talking on the phone. Other pros, the nice thing about cell phones is that we all have them everywhere we are, so you're able to get a hold of people in other ways. However, with cell phones, I could not tell you my mom's cell phone number because it's in my phone. But if there was an emergency, I am not going to be able to call my mother because I don't know what her cell phone number is. So please keep a paper copy of all of your important phone numbers. Oh, the other thing about landlines I forgot to tell you is that everyone always talks about the out-of-state contact. Out-of-state contact. Please have an out-of-state contact because out-of-state phone lines run differently than local phone lines. So that is why they recommend having an out-of-state contact, is because you will probably have the most success of everything on an out-of-state telephone. Okay. Oh, my other last thing about technology is that because we have a world of information right at our fingertips, people are becoming stupid. I don't get this. But because we can look everything up, we don't ever keep anything in our brains. Well, when the emergency happens and we don't have access to the internet, do you know how to do these things without help? Pinterest is fantastic, but if you don't have a link to go to the website, can you still build a TP campfire? So those are something else we Okay, shelter. When we had the first Harriman fire, lots of people in Harriman have camp trailers. So they hooked up their camp trailers, they went down to Walmart, and Walmart became a parking lot for RVs. Those people lived high on the hog. Everyone else that was not that fortunate was evacuated to the high school. I called the Red Cross today to make sure that this was accurate, and they actually, the man that I talked to didn't know the answer, but he said it was smaller than this. When you go to a Red Cross evacuation center, you're given a cot to sleep on, and 2 feet around that cot. Everything you own has to fit in that square. So I said, is it 4 by 8? And he goes, no, it's less than that. So less than 4 feet by 8 feet is what you are given during an emergency, which you can kind of explain why in Katrina they were a little upset that they were stuck in the evacuation center for so long, because that's not a very big area. The RVs, people who had RVs just took their RVs down to Walmart and it just filled right up with RVs. Okay, the next one is sanitation. We had a big issue with this in the first fire. People wanted, because everyone on the mountain has lots of animals, they all wanted to bring them with them. And so we realized that we needed to get a new location for them to go to, because Red Cross will not allow any animals into the Red Cross Evacuation Center unless it is a dog, a service dog, thank you. And so we called the county's equestrian center right here in South Jordan, and we took everything down here. Well, this is what you need to know about your pets. They need to eat the food that they are used to, or they will get diarrhea. It's so fun to have 200 animals on new food with diarrhea. So the next thing that we learned was that all animals needed to be in separate kennels. Even ones that knew each other acted up, which I think we can kind of relate to us as humans. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't have their normal surroundings. They could sense that the humans were panicked. And so the animals all needed to be in their own kennels. So as a pet owner, it is very helpful if you have a kennel. Put your animal in it every once in a while so that when the emergency comes and you try to put them in the kennel, they don't freak out. Have some food that they're used to that you can bring with them. And then we have gotten much better at checking in animals and making sure that they are returned to the right owners. We've had lots of practice with that. So get your pets 72-hour kids along with your family. Humans, in a group setting, something to think about. You're going to need a place for the men to go to the bathroom and a place for women to go to the bathroom in a mass situation. After a few days, everyone is going to start to stink. So, my favorite, baby wipes. A little quick wipe down, we're all fresh as a daisy. Keep some of those in your food storage. Toilet paper is one of the #1 things to disappear in an emergency. I don't want to live without it, so I've got some in my storage. The next one